Hey guys, so remember a while ago I asked you guys to submit some questions for an about me type of video that I was actually originally going to do for my 10,000 subscribers celebration, I guess. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you guys so much. Obviously, it's been so awesome to be able to do this, to be able to make these videos and everything like that. So I thought that it would be a good time for you guys to get to know me a little better and answer some of your questions. I know some of you guys asked them in the comments, so I thought I would just make a video about it. Hopefully it's not going to be too long, but as usual, my videos always get longer than I want them to get. So in the community tab, I asked you guys to submit some questions so that I could answer them in this video. So I'm just gonna get started. So a lot of people are asking what my personality type is, MBTI personality type. I am an INTJ. And sometimes people tell me no, you're not an INTJ, you're an INFP. I think that's kind of the culture in the personality typing community. It's always this thing of you're actually not this type and all this stuff, but I am definitely an INTJ. I really identify with that. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I got professionally typed. It was actually the last type that I was considering. I thought I was INFP for a long time. I thought I was ENFP for a long time. And when I was told that I was INTJ, I was like, that's impossible. That can't be. But it all makes sense. I think you can sort of see my INTJ-ness if you know anything about personality types through artistic license, my color analysis system, and even through the way that I see body types as well. So yeah, I really identify with INTJ. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely introverted. I am also definitely a little bit less concerned with details and more concerned with just thinking about big picture things. That's not to say that I'm particularly good at it, but I do enjoy thinking about things like that. So that's the N. I am a thinking type, so I do really, I don't make my decisions based on my feelings, even though I really want to. And I'm also a J type, so in this case my judging is, if you guys know anything about MBTI and the Jungian functions, you know that extroverted thinking is a judging function. So that paired with introverted intuition, my judging and the way that it comes about within me is that it's not so much that I need to have everything on schedule. It's not so much that I need to have lists of to-do lists and things like that and be organized, but I need to have things organized in my own head. I need for things to make sense together. And if things are open-ended, hey, there's this one data point that doesn't fit your theory or something, I lose sleep over that. I can't do that. So I think that is kind of an INTJ thing, and you guys might notice that with artistic license too. I really try to make sure everything makes sense. I mean, I try. I don't always succeed, but I lose sleep over it if something doesn't make sense. So I think that's very much a J type thing for an intuitive. And another question I get is also Enneagram. I am an Enneagram type 4, and I really identify with that as well, but I don't know my wing. I don't know my wing in Enneagram. I don't know that much about Enneagram as compared to MBTI and Jungian functions and all this stuff. So I definitely know I'm a type 4. I don't know what wing I am. I might be 4 wing 5. I don't know. But type 4 also really kind of resonated with me so much. I'll leave some links down below on type 4, like the description that I read, and I'm not going to bore you. Basically all of that is true about me. Basically all of it. So I'm a type 4 Enneagram. I have no doubt about that at all. What is your star sign? Is that the same thing as astrology? I don't really know. What is my astrological sign? So I am a Leo. And I'm on the cusp of something, and I keep forgetting what it is. I was born at the end of July. So I'm a Leo. And I don't really resonate with that much. I'm pretty introverted. Maybe sometimes I'm pretty aggressive. Are Leos aggressive? I don't know. But I don't really resonate with Leo too much. But maybe you guys who know more about, astrology and things like that can tell me if that's something that is sort of, necessarily true, that Leos are more extroverted or not. I don't know. One of my professors was talking about how, depending on when you were born, you had a different environment like in the womb and things like that, so that could actually affect your temperament, it could affect your personality. So I feel like there is a lot of sort of ancient wisdom in astrology, so if people know some stuff about that, then let me know. What is your ethnicity? My ethnicity is I am half Russian, half Algerian. And so my mom is Russian and blonde, and my dad is Algerian, so he looks kind of like Arab. So that's why I look the way that I do. A lot of you guys have asked me, oh, you look kind of interesting, I guess, like, why do you look like that? And, who are you? So now you know. And I actually know some Russian. So I know some Russian, and I speak Russian with my grandma and things like that. And I lived there until I was 6 in Russia. Ooh, I like this question. What is your style history? For example, how did you dress as a teenager? Biggest style regrets? What's the first impression people get from you? Is it accurate? Has it changed since you found Kibbe? My style history is that when I was like at 6 or 7, I definitely only wore dresses and sparkles and things like that, and refused to wear pants, and basically thought I was a princess and I needed to wear dresses all the time. Then I got really into like Lizzie McGuire type fashion when I was like 12. And then I was really in high school, I was emo. Like I was like all about black and red and burgundy and more black. And that was based, and lots of black eyeliner and things like that, or as much as I could, as much as I was allowed to wear anyway. So that is pretty much, that's my fashion history up until then. Then in college, I just decided like, okay, I'm just gonna try to like wear things that are just flattering on me, and I feel like I started to become more interested in like some elegance type stuff, like elegant looks. So I kind of mixed like emo with elegant for a while, so it was just like a lot of black again, and then I kind of got into some cuter looks. Maybe I thought that would be kind of fun, and throughout my 16 and on, I would say I was like interested on and off also in some sort of like more artsy type looks, like slightly oversized maybe, or slightly like, or definitely wearing all black yet again. Things that I've never worn are just like, oh, and for a little while, I was all about Banana Republic for like 3 months, and that was just not really my thing. Like I never really fit into that type of look, whatever that is. So that was kind of interesting too. And yeah, so I've been kind of all over the place, but I've kind of settled into basically a color palette of black, burgundy, and gray, and I pretty much stick to that. And I don't take it too seriously. Some days I feel like wearing something a bit more cute, some days a bit more serious or elegant or whatever, so I try to go for that. And what's the first impression people get from you? Is it accurate? No, the first impression people get from me is not always accurate. Now I think it's definitely more accurate than it was before, but I think before, people, especially when I would like dress cuter and stuff, like people would think that I was cute, and then they were very disappointed that I was not cute, and they were not happy with that. And that was pretty interesting. So that's like a part of why I became interested in image, I guess, is sort of like I see style as a form of communication in a way. I want to communicate how I am. I don't want, again, I'm an INTJ. I'm not into surprises. I don't want to surprise anyone. I want it to be clear sort of how I am, right? So yeah, so since Kibbe body typing, since all of this, and also since just putting more thought into it, I do kind of enjoy being more intentional about how I look, and I think I'm more successful and I'm more able to communicate what I actually want to communicate through my style, through my clothing, since learning my own lines. How has your life changed since you started to dress according to your lines, colors, and personality? Do you view yourself differently? Do other people notice or treat you differently? It's so interesting. The thing is that I don't view myself differently, but I think other people view me more consistently in the way that I view myself. So that's again going in, hand in hand with the communication thing of style. That's personally how I see it. If you're expressing yourself through your style, you want for people to understand what you're expressing. So I am much more able to do that now. And it's definitely a lot less stressful, and I feel a lot more comfortable in relation to just like how I'm going to relate to people, especially in public and things like that. It makes me feel more comfortable to know that I am sort of carving out my space in, in the place that I'm in, I guess, if that makes sense. And I expect that, I'm communicating things effectively through my style, and it just feels like there's a congruence, like I'm not dressing up like someone I'm not or something like that. And I really like that. Where did you discover Kibbe? Ali Art. I discovered Kibbe from Ali Art. And and ever since then I've been super interested in it. Like, she made those videos and I was like, this is amazing. And I, was watching her before Kibbe as well. And first I thought I was a soft classic, which is always the case, I feel like, for everyone. Then I think I thought I was theatrical romantic, and then I was like, no, like that is not right. There's something not right, because I do have quite an hourglass shape, so that's the common thing. Like, I thought I was theatrical romantic. Then I thought I was soft natural, and I thought I was soft natural for a while, but then I was like, this is just not working. Like, either this system sucks or I'm not soft natural. And then I tried soft dramatic, and soft dramatic, you guys can see, like, I'm not a soft dramatic, so that was not good either. And then I was like, okay, we've been through classic, we've been through natural, we've been through romantic, we've been through, dramatic and soft dramatic, so maybe try the Gamine lines. And let's just get into this now, because I started talking about it. But in the book, David says that in the body type descriptions, it's okay if you don't match some of these characteristics, as long as you match the yin-yang balance. So I took it a bit too literally, and I was like, oh, so no problem, like, Gamines can be tall. This is just like misinformation and things like that. But then I later found out that apparently Kibbe is saying there's no way Gamines can be tall. And so now I have body geometry, which includes, one of the many differences is that it includes tall people like Taylor Swift and Lily Cole into the mixed category, which used to be like the old Gamine category. So yeah, and I have videos on both of those ladies that I'll link below. But yeah, to me, the whole point of all of this is to find my best lines, to find things that look really flattering, to find things that look like they're an extension of my own body instead of fighting against it. And I feel like Gamine lines really do that for me. How old are you? I am 28. Do you help your friends and family with their fashion? Yes, I do. My mom is a dramatic classic, and she's warm and radiant. And I help her sometimes. I mean, she can easily help herself too, but she has been into like fashion and style for a long time too. So she's been, hopefully having fun with that too. I give my friends advice and like tell them their body type and stuff. Not all of them are super interested. Like, sometimes, people are just not interested, but some of my friends are kind of interested too. What are your favorite movies and books? So can I tell you guys my favorite shows? My favorite shows are Westworld, season 1, True Detective season 1 and season 3, and Silicon Valley. I love Silicon Valley. And my favorite movies, I'm always like, I feel like I'm going to forget something, but I do love Interstellar. I think that was a really good movie. Books, I actually don't read that much at all. I'm not much of a reader. I'm more of like a math person and a drawing person, and I never really got into like reading books, but I did like Chuck Palahniuk back in high school, and that was really the last time that I was like really getting into reading. Do you have any kids? No, I don't have any kids. What do you like to do for fun? Ooh, I like to go to the museum, like art museums, all kinds of different museums. I do like to go shopping for clothes, try stuff on. I like to dress up in random clothes all the time. I like to go thrifting. I like to spend time with my family. I also like to do my makeup in different ways, and I'm pretty introverted. Like, I like to watch YouTube for fun, honestly. So oh, and I love going like to different restaurants and trying different foods. I just love that. So that's really what I like to do for fun. I don't really do any kinds of like sports. I don't play like wiffle ball or anything for fun. I don't do picnics. You know, I'm not like a very fun person, but I do like to do the things that I described. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's a really good question. You know, it's so interesting. 5 years ago, I was doing my undergrad degree in physics, and now I'm here. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I could not possibly even imagine what is going to happen in 5 years from now. If things continue, you know, the way that they're continuing, if I continue to really enjoy doing style, doing image consulting, color analysis, and things like that, I really envision sort of my goal, my hope is to boil down, you know, sort of like with color theory or with music theory or whatever, like there are certain things like chords and certain color combinations and complementary colors, and like it's all formalized. I want to make a system like that for style. But the thing is that, like, you know, that's a lofty goal. I hope that I'm kind of working toward that. I know artistic license, in my opinion, is a good, you know, step toward that. I think body geometry, you know, getting rid of, you know, the baggage of the old naming convention and things like that, and just focusing on the lines and focusing on the bone structure and sort of figuring out what's going on there. I think that's also like a good step in that direction. But, you know, things always take so long, and you know, we live in the real world where time exists and things like that. So it's really, you know, I want to do all these things, but sometimes I feel like I don't have like enough time or something. So I'm hoping that's the direction I'm heading. But who knows, it might change entirely. I might develop a new interest, a new direction I want to take the channel or anything like that. So I'm going to stay open-minded about everything and just kind of go with the things that I enjoy and see where it takes me. Oh, look at this nice question. We are parts of all of the minutes of our lives. We are lucky to live in a time where self-expression is at its highest. I know what motivated you to start this channel. What have you learned from the journey so far? I wonder if this person is an INFJ. But yeah, so that's a really nice question, and it reads like a poem, which is very lovely. I think I learned that there are just so many different ways to live your life, and it's not always just like this or that. Like, you graduate college and you get a degree and then you get a 9-to-5 and you work that for a long time, or like whatever it is that you know. There are so many other ways to live your life, and there are so many other types of lifestyles that you might not even be aware of. I mean, I can't even like begin to talk about how much I've learned. I always thought that to like do what you love to do, you know, so to speak, the millennial dream, so to speak, you know, doing what your passion is, doing what you love to do or whatever. I thought that was like very hit or miss, like either you make it or you don't make it, you know. And I feel like a lot of people have this impression, like either you work your 9-to-5 that you totally hate, or you make it on YouTube and you're a millionaire or a billionaire. Not a billionaire, but you make it on YouTube and you're a millionaire. And I didn't really know that there was this huge middle ground between, you know, working a 9-to-5 and not doing your passion if you can't fit it into your work, you know, your regular work or whatever, and being a millionaire. I thought that there was no middle ground, but actually right now, and to answer someone else's question too, like this is what I do full time, and it's really like revolutionary to me that this happened, you know. I mean, I'm so happy that this happened, and I think it's crazy. Like, we live in such an amazing time where you can just like talk at a camera, and if people think that what you have to say is valuable, they listen and they support you, and they can become your clients as well, and you can make money doing what you love, basically. And that's not something that I really genuinely knew, when I started this. And I always thought that it was like some weird like pipe dream, like some ridiculous dream to just be able to do something like that. But really, like, maybe I can take this time to encourage any of you guys who are watching. Like, if you like something, then, just like start out sharing it with people, and you never know where that's going to take you. Like, I was reading Metamorphosis at this like front desk job that I had, where I just had to like sit there, and I was just reading the book, and like I didn't know that's where it would lead. It's just the weirdest thing. And just like, you put one foot in front of the other, and then things kind of come together, and it's like, it's actually very, very weird. And I don't know what the word is. I think I'm like, it's not even that I'm grateful. I'm like beyond grateful, and also surprised. Like, I didn't know that this existed, in the world. So I'm really happy, doing what I'm doing. And of course, at the end of the day though, you also learn that it's not like an Instagram life. Like, my place is a mess. I work a lot, and I'm not always like in the best mood. Like, sometimes I'm not in a good mood. I'm not always like dressed all nicely and like vlogging, I mean, sometimes it's not exactly like, all Instagrammy, but that's the real deal. It's like, there is a middle ground. If you had to choose another Kibbe type, which would you choose? I think I would choose soft classic or pure classic, because I think those are just like, actually a lot of people tell me like, oh, it's so difficult to dress classic or soft classic. And I think dressing classic in some ways is the easiest, I guess, for me, because I really like really minimal looks. I want to be able to just put on a simple black t-shirt and jeans and walk out the door, and then put my hair up in a bun or something and walk out the door. And classics can do that. They might not realize that they can do that, but they can, and they're not going to look boring. They are going to look, and just like put on some BB cream, or you don't even have to put BB cream on, and that's it. And you can just walk out the door. You don't have to be like, oh, now I need a contrasting belt, So I think it's just like, it's really cool to be able to do that. So I'd probably like to be a classic. As much as people are like, nobody wants to be soft classic or something, I think a lot of people also want to be soft classic. Have you done any paintings, drawings, or form of art? If yes, can you show them to us? Yeah, so I did the paintings, like all of the paintings and drawings on my website are mine, and my Merriam style icon is mine, and the icon for Merriam Life is also mine. Like, I drew all of those, or drew or painted, or a combination of both. So those are all things that I've made. Favorite band / music genre? Oh, you guys know already, probably. In high school, I liked My Chemical Romance. Before that, I liked Panic at the Disco. After My Chemical Romance, I liked Nicki Minaj. And then after Nicki Minaj, I liked Ayreon. If you guys don't know of Ayreon, you should check them out. I really like them. I like their album Into the Electric Castle, I think it's called, and 01001011. I don't know. It's some binary named album, which I really love as well. How did you get into image identity and color stuff? So I think that it kind of just fell into my lap. I've always been into style on and off. Like, ever since I was a child, I was always like drawing like little outfit ideas and stuff. I was always interested in it. I kind of thought of it as more of like a hobby, and on and off in life, like I would be more interested in it or less interested in it. It was, I guess it was around 7 or 8 years ago that I actually discovered Sandy Dumont's videos on color analysis, and she actually does things really, really different from how I do them. But she, you might notice, she flips summer and winter in her terminology, which is why I flipped summer and winter in my terminology when I was making my first YouTube videos. So this is a whole other story about how I was inspired by her work. Now, I'm not even sure if she would agree with any of the stuff that I was saying, but I was inspired by her work. I thought she was really good. And she also used skin only for undertone. And, like me being an olive skin tone, everyone was always telling me, oh my god, you're gonna look amazing in gold, you're gonna look amazing in peaches, oh, you're so golden, etc. And then when I found that I looked really good in placid blues and grays, I was absolutely shocked. And I spent about a day doing that, and then I, was thinking on it for a while, and sort of like, I wasn't really researching color analysis. I was just kind of like observing people in my life and just, I used to paint pretty often, so I was just thinking about how the colors would work with their complexions and things, and basically built up artistic license kind of informally in my own head throughout that time. And then I started making YouTube videos, and here we are. And then, I started being interested in body typing from Alley Art, so that goes sort of hand in hand with basically image consulting in a way, right? So it's these kinds of topics of, like, for some reason, the systems are always so interesting to me. Like, I love MBTI, I love different, like, systems. So I just really it really resonates with me to have, like, a system of body types and a system of color analysis. I really like that kind of formality, even if we all know that, of course, not everyone's going to fit neatly into a box. I would never think that. That would just be so ridiculous. I mean, people don't fit neatly into any box, but there are tendencies. So I think it's interesting to think about. Oh, this person's asking, you mentioned you studied physics in college. Are there any similarities you noticed between your field of study and fashion which attracts you to both? Yes, so you guys can see that the way that I sort of study fashion and style is very much in, like, a systematic approach. I really like being able to make sense of things. I think that's why, like I just said, I really like systems and things like that. So I think that with physics, it was a similar thing. It was kind of like this chaotic world and trying to make sense of it. And in the same way with style and with fashion, it's like, all of these things, like, sometimes things look good, sometimes things don't look good. Like, I want to make sense of that. So I think that's where the similarity is. Like, that's the thread that connects them, if you will. Oh, and some people are asking what my profession is, or if I have a career aside from YouTube, or what is it, and things like that. So I do YouTube full-time now, but before this, I was doing, I did some data analysis, I did some biophysics research, I did some logistics, I worked at a pharmaceutical company for a little while in research as well. So I did stuff like that. Oh, I worked at another lab, at a biology lab as well, doing more like programming stuff. So I did some of that, and so I did that, and then I was able to sort of, I was like doing this, like, while I was working full time. I was doing the videos like in the evenings and whatever, and on the weekends. And then when it got to be too much, like when it got to a point where I was like never sleeping ever, I quit that full-time job to pursue this. So so that's kind of how it happened, and it's pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy story. So yeah, when you guys ask me, what do you plan to do in 5 years? Like, I don't even know what I plan to do in a year. It's been a pretty fast pace of a lot of things changing for me, so it's been really great. So that's it, you guys. I hope I covered, I touched on everyone's questions. This video is way too long. I'm gonna have to edit it a lot, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you guys next time. Okay, bye.